Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into some fresh, unique tips to help you learn English like a pro. Are you ready, Nasir?
I'm ready, Maksuda. I'm excited to share some strategies that might not be as well known but can make a big difference in language learning.
Let's start with using songs to learn English. Many people love listening to music, but how can it be a useful tool for improving your English?
Songs are a great way to improve your listening skills, pronunciation, and vocabulary. The rhythm and melody help you remember new words, and because songs often use natural, everyday language, you can learn common phrases and idioms. I recommend listening to songs with the lyrics and singing along to improve your fluency.
That's an awesome tip. What about learning through stories? How can storytelling enhance someone's English skills?
Storytelling is powerful because it helps learners engage with the language emotionally and contextually. Try listening to audiobooks or podcasts where stories are told in English. As you listen, pay attention to the storytelling techniques and how words are used to create a narrative. You can even try writing your own stories in English as a fun way to practice.
I love the idea of creating your own stories. Now, let's talk about language immersion through virtual reality (VR). Have you heard of using VR to learn English?
Absolutely. Virtual reality is an innovative way to immerse yourself in English. VR apps can simulate real-life environments, like a cafe or a city, where you can practice speaking and listening in realistic situations. It's an interactive, engaging way to practice language skills and improve fluency without leaving your home.
That's next-level learning. Another unique tip is learning through humor and jokes. How can humor help in improving English?
Humor is a fantastic way to learn because it exposes you to slang, cultural references, and different forms of expression. Understanding jokes or memes in English will help you grasp idiomatic language and improve your ability to understand humor, which is a big part of mastering a language. I recommend watching stand-up comedy, sitcoms, or even reading jokes in English.
Yes, laughter is the best teacher. Moving on, how about changing your phone's language settings? Do you think this can help with language learning?
It's a simple but effective trick. By setting your phone's language to English, you're constantly exposed to the language throughout the day. Every time you check your phone, you'll see new words, and this passive learning helps reinforce what you already know. Plus, it's a fun and effortless way to immerse yourself in English.
That's a clever hack. Now, another tip I like is learning through cooking. Can you explain how cooking in English can help learners?
Cooking in English is such a fun way to practice. Following recipes in English exposes you to action verbs, ingredient names, and measurement vocabulary. You can watch cooking shows in English, try recipes in English, and even talk to others in English while cooking. It's a practical way to learn everyday language that you can use in the kitchen or other situations.
I love how practical that tip is. What do you think about using mindfulness and meditation to improve language skills?
Meditation and mindfulness exercises in English are a fantastic way to reduce stress while learning. You can listen to guided meditations in English, which will help with both relaxation and language comprehension. It's a peaceful way to get used to hearing English and practicing it without feeling pressured.
I can see how that would really help calm nerves while learning. Next up, we have learning with children's content. How can learners use children's books, shows, or games to their advantage?
Children's content is often simpler, but it's packed with useful language. The vocabulary is basic, the sentences are clear, and the repetition helps reinforce concepts. You can watch children's TV shows, read children's books, or even play children's educational games. It's a fun and stress-free way to learn, and it helps you build a strong foundation for more complex language.
That's such a great starting point for beginners. Lastly, let's talk about engaging in cross-cultural activities. How can participating in cultural events help with language learning?
Cross-cultural activities give you the chance to use English in real-world settings. Whether it's attending an international festival, participating in a cooking class, or joining an online cultural exchange, these experiences expose you to the language in a cultural context. They can also help you learn more about English-speaking countries and the way language is used in everyday life.
What an enriching experience that must be. Nasir, these tips have been so unique and creative. I'm sure our listeners are feeling inspired. Do you have any final words to wrap things up?
Absolutely. My final advice is to stay open to new ways of learning. English doesn't have to be a boring or difficult process. Find what works for you, whether it's through music, humor, cooking, or technology, and make it fun. The more you enjoy the process, the faster you'll improve. Keep experimenting and never stop learning.